Amid a spiral of ancient history, a figure emerges whose unshakable faith would challenge empires and inspire generation. This is the story of Daniel, the prophet who faced kings, interpreted dreams, and survived the fearsome den of lions. An epic journey that reveals the power of true devotion amid the harshest trials. Our story begins at a dark time for the people of Judah, in the 3rd year of the reign of Joachim, king of Judah. An ominous shadow hung over Jerusalem. Nebuchadnezzar, the powerful king of Babylon, had besieged the holy city. The scriptures tell us that the Lord allowed Jerusalem to fall, handing Joachim and part of the temple treasures into the hands of the Babylonian conqueror. Among the captives taken into exile was a young man named Daniel. Torn from his homeland, he was forced to embark on a journey hundreds of miles across the desert to the glorious city of Babylon. Imagine the fear and uncertainty that must have filled your heart as you saw the city walls looming on the horizon. But something about Daniel distinguished him from the other captives, an inner strength and unshakable faith that would soon be put to the test. Daniel, a young man with a fearless heart and a determined look, found himself facing an unknown journey when he was torn from his homeland and forced to cross arid deserts and strange cities until he reached the imposing Babylon. The brightness of the sun reflecting off the city walls, which stood like unshakable sentinels, contrasted with the uncertainty that permeated Daniel's heart. With every step in that foreign land, he carried not only the physical baggage of the journey, but also the emotional burden of being far from everything he knew and loved. However, in the midst of the unknown and adversity, something within him stood out, an inner strength and unshakable faith that would soon be put to the test in the challenges that awaited him in the court of King Nebuchadnezzar. Upon arrival at King Nebuchadnezzar's court, Daniel and his companions were subjected to skill and knowledge tests to be integrated into royal service. The king, in his cunning, ordered Ashpenaz, the chief of his officers, to select young Israelites from royalty and nobility. They had to be physically impeccable, beautiful, well-educated, and intelligent to master different areas of knowledge and serve in the royal palace. Nebuchadnezzar's plan was clear and calculated. He wanted to mold these promising young men in the image of Babylonian culture, erasing their Jewish roots and transforming them into loyal servants of the empire. For 3 years, Daniel and his companions were immersed in the Chaldean language, literature, and customs. The king even granted them a daily portion of food and wine from the royal table as an honor that hid a subtle trap. After being selected to serve in the royal palace, Daniel and his companions underwent intense training. They went through grueling classes in etiquette, protocol, and political strategies. Under the watchful supervision of Babylonian officials, they learned the art of diplomacy and the ability to interpret the king's wishes. Furthermore, they were instructed in the religious practices and ceremonies of the court, being tested on their ability to quickly adapt to the luxurious and extravagant lifestyle of the palace. The pressure was constant, with high expectations regarding the performance of young apprentices. Daniel stood out not only for his intelligence and natural abilities, but also for his integrity and his ability to remain faithful to his beliefs, even in the face of the temptations and pressures of the palace environment. When faced with the food and wine at the royal table, Daniel felt an internal conflict between obedience to Jewish dietary laws and the pressure to adapt to Babylonian customs. He pondered the possible consequences of refusing the food offered by the king and the ramifications of directly defying royal orders. In an act of courage and conviction, Daniel decided to honor his faith and principles, choosing not to contaminate himself with prohibited foods. This choice was not just a matter of diet, but rather a firm stance regarding their identity and loyalty to God in a hostile foreign environment. Faced with pressure to conform to the customs and practices of the Babylonian court, Daniel faced a moral dilemma. While his fellow exiles indulged in the luxuries and privileges offered by the king, Daniel remained firm in his devotion to God. His refusal to participate in pagan festivities and compromise his faith brought him not only the respect of those around him, but also aroused the envy of those who saw him as an obstacle to his rise in the palace. Even in the face of veiled threats and attempts to defame him, Daniel remained steadfast in his purpose, demonstrating that true greatness lies in integrity and loyalty to divine principles. After the surprising revelation of the physical and health superiority of Daniel and his friends, as a result of their diet based on vegetables and water, the news spread quickly throughout the Babylonian court. Curious and admiring eyes turned to the young Hebrews, who demonstrated unusual vitality and vigor. Murmurs multiplied, echoing through the palace corridors, while questions about the secret behind the young people's healthy appearance became frequent among the king's nobles and servants. Daniel's reputation as a man of integrity and wisdom grew every day, earning not only respect but also admiration for his determination to remain faithful to divine precepts even in the face of the most seductive temptations of the Babylonian court. After the period of immersion in Babylonian culture, Daniel and his companions demonstrated exceptional progress in their learning. While other young people excelled in worldly skills and earthly knowledge, Daniel and his friends revealed a wisdom that transcended the boundaries of human intellect. They not only mastered the languages and customs of Babylon, but also revealed a deep understanding of divine mysteries. God granted these four young people a supernatural intelligence that enabled them to decipher riddles, interpret dreams, and discern the most hidden secrets of the human mind. This extraordinary wisdom did not go unnoticed in King Nebuchadnezzar's court, where Daniel and his friends became known as wise and faithful counselors. His influence grew exponentially as his accurate interpretations and wise advice shaped the kingdom's decision. Daniel's reputation as a man of unwavering integrity and divine wisdom echoed throughout the palace halls, earning the trust of not only the king, but also the Babylonian people. Thus, Daniel's journey to influence and prestige in the Babylonian court was just beginning, setting the stage for the extraordinary events that were to come. After years of dedication and exemplary service in King Nebuchadnezzar's court, the crucial moment arrived when Daniel and his friends would be presented before the monarch to demonstrate their skills and knowledge. Anxiety hung in the air as the court prepared to witness the talent of these young Hebrews. Daniel's heart was beating fast, not out of fear, but out of expectation of what God would do in that situation. Upon being summoned to the king's presence, Daniel and his friends were subjected to intellectual and strategic challenges that left the wise men of Babylon perplexed. While the other candidates resorted to human artifices and knowledge, Daniel trusted the Lord to reveal to him the deepest secrets of divine wisdom. His ability to interpret dreams and decipher supernatural riddles impressed Nebuchadnezzar, making him recognize the power of the God of Israel among the pagan gods. Thus, Daniel's reputation as a man chosen by God to unravel divine mysteries was solidified before the king and the entire Babylonian court. After his remarkable rise as a trusted advisor in the court of the Babylonian Empire, Daniel found himself faced with new challenges and opportunities. His wisdom and discernment were constantly requested by rulers, not only for political issues, but also for prophetic interpretations and spiritual advice. Daniel's reputation as a man of integrity and connection with the divine spread beyond the borders of Babylon, reaching other kingdoms and peoples. His influence transcended cultural and religious barriers, making him a respected figure throughout the Middle East. Daniel's ability to decipher the mysteries of time and convey divine messages established him as one of the most renowned prophets of his time. His prophetic writings have been preserved throughout the centuries, inspiring later generations to seek truth and justice. Daniel's life was not only a personal testimony of unwavering faith, but also a lasting legacy that echoes to this day, reminding us of the importance of remaining faithful to divine principles in the midst of adversity. If you want to discover more about incredible biblical stories like this, or share your reflections on unwavering faith in the face of adversity, subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content. Daniel's extraordinary life teaches us valuable lessons about faithfulness to God, even in the face of the greatest difficulties. His story continues to impact generations around the world as a living example of courage, integrity, and unwavering faith.